Welcome to Cat the Minion YouTube channel. My name is Teresa, but you can call me Cat. I've decided that I'm going to be doing my longer tarot readings in a different way. In order to figure out what the subject is going to be, I'm going to be making some art. So I've got the little bitty baby Strathmore sketchbook here. And we're gonna get it dirty, apparently. So I have got my remaining box of charcoal and such from when I was in college. This is about 20 years old now. This sticker, $11.35 in the on-campus art store. That seems expensive for some vine charcoal, but it would probably cost a lot more now. Back when tuition was expensive but still cheaper. So I've got a fat vine charcoal, I've got an HB graphite, charcoal pencil, another fat vine charcoal, what is this, a 3B graphite. These are dusty because I had the box open for a while. Have a light charcoal stick, some kind of charcoal or Conte or something, a dark charcoal, another, I think that's graphite, it looks silver on the end. These are so dirty, I don't even know what half of this stuff is. An HB charcoal. I didn't know I had all these charcoal pencils. Where the hell did these even come from? Alright, this one is an ebony jet black smooth charcoal of some sort. I've got some little vine charcoal. I've got some whatever this thicker charcoal is, which is probably also vine, but bigger. Oh, maybe this is a Conte. This might be a Conte crayon. Or a charcoal. Oh, okay. This one must be charcoal. K-O-L-E. And I think this is the Conte crayon. It's been a while. This is the end of a graphite pencil, I think. Silver. Some bits of vine charcoal. And I think that's a charcoal as well. I don't want to get it all over my camera, but I guess I'll just do some charcoal drawings for this. So I'm doing three drawings for this reading. You could use it as a pick-a-pile. I'm doing astrological signs, but we're doing them in Cardinal, fixed, and mutable. So you can go by the signs, right? So Cardinal's going to be Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. Fixed is going to be Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius, like you'll see in the tarot deck on the wheel and the world cards. And mutable is Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces. So you can pick by what your sign is. You can pick whether you want cardinal, fixed, or mutable, or you can pick by the drawing and have it as a pick-a-pile. So what I've got... Oh yeah, I guess I don't usually draw landscapes, but apparently that's what's happening today, and I don't know how focused this actually is, so we'll find out in a second. So we've got... Sorry if that hurts your ears. Oh, that looks like a cliff. Get one of these fatter shark hells. Okay, work. Some rolling fields here. Let's see what this one does. It's definitely darker. Okay. Like some trees or something. I'm not sure how trees are supposed to look. Try some darker. That looks crappy. Some more trees up here, maybe. I didn't tell anybody, but I am starting with, well, I was going to say this is for Cardinal, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's something, some clouds. Yeah. Okay. All right. The hell is today? 28, 23. Okay. So there's one. I gotta wipe my hands off. I feel really smart. I went and grabbed a makeup wipe. It's gonna get the, ooh, hello, gorgeous. It takes that right off. It leaves me smelly though, but I'll wash my hands later. Look at that. Clean as a whistle. Alright, so there's one. I really want to use the watercolor for this. I have watercolors that are 20 years old too that I haven't used in a while. I get the primaries of the Payne's Gray. Okay, so here's a little landscape. Get the paper scissors. Now, I feel like this is better because my little tagline has been Artistry and Alchemy for a few years now. And this is really telling people what it is. Alright, there we go. Put that on your fridge with the magnet. Alright, so this is... I'm not sure who's going to be who yet. So we've got a little landscape here. And... oh, alright. What is this? Graphite? This is graphite, so let's get a little... Just gonna fill in a shape here. Okay. some little crest here for funsies. Alright, so there's a little dinosaur, which I didn't know I was going to draw. Okay, so there's another group, was going to have a little feathery dinosaur. Cut that off of the pad. Okay, so there's number 2. Alright. What? Oh, okay. Let's go this way. No. Hopefully none of that went on the lens. Okay. Alright, so if you had owl on your bingo card, then I guess you get a cookie. Hand's cramping up a little bit. Okay. Shit, where am I going to write my name? Let's put it down here on the edge. Kind of illegible, but still there. Okay. Cut that one. If I had makeup wipes when I was in college, that would have made life easier. I would have had to go around with dry charcoal up my hands, but you know, I didn't wear makeup then, so. No, I'll pull this one all the way off because it's pretty dirty. It's dirty. Alright. Couple things, even though you can't see me doing it because I'm over here. The paper scissors, which are all fucked up. Okay. Here we go. Scrapes. And the owl. Alright, so we're going to put these dirty things back in the box. Next time, hopefully I'll feel like doing stuff in color. I don't know how long these drawings are going to take, but I figured the charcoal would be a little bit faster than pencil. Oh, I should do some in ballpoint pen. Oh, ew. Dirty little bunny. That sounded nasty. Ew. Gross. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to get cleaned up a little bit. I'm going to change to another segment. Get it all over the table. Alright. Makes me glad that I don't have contacts anymore. I put this here, and I'll pick up the table. Come on. Focus. Focus! Alright, so I'm going to pick some decks, and I'm going to come back, and we'll do those 3 readings after I figure out which one is which. Okay, and I'm back. So I have shuffled the Wild Unknown Archetypes, my music deck, and the Gilded Reverie Lenormand. So for the Cardinal pile... Oh, come on. The Owl. And we're going to be looking at information from your ancestors, a message from your ancestors. And for fixed signs, so Cardinal is Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. Message from the ancestors, and the picture is this owl in the moonlight. For fixed signs, Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius, we have this little feathery little dinosaur, and we're dealing with personal evolution and my music deck. And for mutable signs, we have this little landscape, which is with what's supposed to be a river down there. And we're dealing with portals and timelines, more simply landscape changes. You know, like I've stepped through a portal, and now my house and the land around it looks completely different because it's hundreds or thousands of years in a different direction. So that's what we're going to be looking at. And we're going to start with the ancestor message from the cardinal signs. So again, pick it by picture, pick it by sign, or pick it by topic. So we're going to move these out of the way for a minuet. Trying not to smudge these. Okay. Oh, I gotta make sure I don't have these backwards. Okay. So I didn't decide on a particular... I'm gonna move this cat out of the way. So I didn't decide on a specific reading. I'm just gonna let some cards drop out. My hand dirty. I had to wait a while to record because my neighbor was snow blowing. And it's still snowing, and I'm going to have to do it in the morning. Because we have to go somewhere. Okay, so here's one that came out kind of upside down. Okay, so I'll take this one. Dead End Street. I don't remember any of the other lyrics, but that's a song by the Kinks. Dead End Street. The Precious. Let's take this one. The Vessel. I don't get that one that often. Let's see what these are. The Womb. Oh, that should go under the Vessel. The Nuclear Vessels. and the stone and the shapeshifter. All right, so let's put the stone under the dead end. We got some triangle action going on here. And the shapeshifter and the ring. I don't think I want to try to read these upside down right now. So 57, the ring. 15, the shapeshifter. This reminds me of the Finger Monkeys. They squeeze no subs! It's like they are crunchy because they toast them. They squeeze no subs! They got a pepper bar! If you're old enough to remember that. Okay. And the dead end. Dead end street. Number 40. 67, the stone upwards triangle makes me think of masculine energy. And then we have the idea of squaring the circle and then triangulating. So we're dealing with resonating fractal energies here. Stone has to do with something that's solid, and we see this a dead end. It reminds me of a triptych door, where we have a pathway going through, but either side doesn't go anywhere, which would be the dead end. This is also giving me Sleeping Beauty energy. So we have the vessel, sacral energy. What is your body filled with? 69. Nice. And then 46, the womb. So we have creation happening. And also sacral energy. And we see the vessel and the womb very tied together because something is coming out of there. Like a big bowl that you can pour in and out of. This ring looks like a time portal. It's giving that sort of Calabi-Yau manifold energy or a bunch of Mobius strips tied together. We're dealing with wormholes. Spooky action at a distance, right? I can see a different time or space through the portal. It's like I'm actively tying a knot. But I'm not confining myself to a specific shape because I'm constantly in flux. This in the middle, the dead end in the stone, makes me feel like I've hit a brick wall and I'm dropping out. My ability to adapt to the situation has stalled out and I'm stuck. There's no doorway here. The portal is closed. None shall pass. The vessel in the womb is like, okay. Death and rebirth. Tomb and womb. Death, rebirth. So if I'm dead, I'm going to be put under a stone, like a sarcophagus, or buried underground in the earth. In a cave. I'm in a cave. I'm buried in a cave. And I see this shape with a little seed-looking eyeball there, and it's similar here. In the very center, I have a cluster shape, the gem here, and a little patch here. And here it looks like something's coming down into the vessel, like it's beaming down, like a little soul coming in. So this has to do with ancestral. It also kind of looks similar to the owl that I've drawn up here. If I take this, try not to get my hand all charcoaly again. And so if I take my owl with the moon and I take this picture, they're actually looking quite similar. Okay. So let me move my cards so I can look in the book. We're going to skim this for funsies to see if we get any more information. So let's look at the ring and the shapeshifter. We'll 179. Let's skim the ring to see if we get anything exciting. The wheel, the connection. Take stock of the jewels you adorn yourself with. Watch out for rings you wear out of habit that keep you connected to the old you. That ties into a few of the card of the day I've done for the first part of March. This idea of transitioning from oneself to another. And it's giving me this sort of idea of upgrading DNA or repairing DNA. Like, what happens if your DNA is a dead end? Your family tree doesn't go on because you can't pass on a defect. But this is happening energetically. Right? We want to heal ancestral trauma so that the next thing that comes through this busted up vessel isn't going to contain as many scarrings, like a tangled net here. Okay. So the ring challenges us to sense the cyclical, infinite nature of our world and experiences. Right? So if the death and rebirth cycles, it comes in with that cyclical nature. Okay. Beginnings and endings fall by the wayside as we practice seeing ourselves as part of the cosmic circularity of creation. The micro and the macro united. A call to deepen the connection with self, other, and the world at large. There's also aspects of love and rings and all that, but I'm not that worried about that right now. So what's being healed is unconscious repetition and starving for connection. Right, we're not going to be stuck cycling through the same loop. I'm not playing the same characters over and over again. I'm learning to be something different by having to start all over. I can't keep using the same bag of tricks. So let's look at the shapeshifter. 91. So happy I wrote the page numbers on the cards because I'm a pain in my ass. 91. Hello. 144 is not the same as 91. I'll have you know. Just learned this. The ripe old age of 40. Okay, so 91. Trickster, elusive, and formless. The ultimate shapeshifter works undercover in service of the greater good. The diminished shapeshifter becomes a people pleaser. That's useful information. That's also come up in my card of the day readings of late. Related to the mask. So if theater, games, and trickery, its energy appears as one thing only to reveal a more complex story below the surface. So that again has to do with it's sort of the journey of the DNA. Each generation plays with it, sort of like a cat's cradle, and creates something out of it. You know, like each generation will play like a Romeo and Juliet or The Tempest or whatever. Each generation puts their own spin on it, right? So, you know, one generation might do a production of Hamlet. The next generation produces The Lion King. And then the one after that will say, oh, we're going to do The Lion King, the Broadway musical. Something like that. But the pattern hasn't really shifted that much. Shapeshifter is within all of us to some degree. It is the side of ourselves that is slippery, non-committal, and experimental, and longs to dismiss the rules. We need its energy to adapt to the ever-changing landscape of our existence. When the Shapeshifter card appears, it's important to imagine you are looking at life through a kaleidoscope rather than a single-focus lens. At any moment, the scene may shift, revealing a more enchanting vision than you imagined. Be wary, though, as the allure of the kaleidoscope can leave you exhausted and yearning for solid ground. That's the stone. Dancing long-term with the shapeshifter requires a central pillar of integrity that links us back to our center. So this constant recycling can be a little bit like a broken record. Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. You know, I've gotten by the skin of my teeth, but I'm going to have to keep doing this lesson over and over again unless I put a stop to it. And that's where we see this sort of dead end coming in. So let's skim the dead end real quick. I don't think I want to read the whole thing, but the shapeshifter was a little bit more intense in that way. Street. So it's talking about doors. The doors of perception. Note that in most stories and movies, the moment the protagonist reaches the dead end, something riveting happens. You are the protagonist. So again, we're talking about this sort of theatrical display. And I think it's important to notice that you're the main character in your life. And sometimes it can feel like you're an afterthought in your own life. You can feel like an NPC. But in reality, you're the main character in your life and everyone else is a supporting role. But if you go to, Bob down the street, Bob is the main character in Bob's life story. And you're a supporting character there. Right? So it depends on which movie you're watching. Right? It's like if you watch Sleeping Beauty, Maleficent is the bad guy. But if you watch the movie Maleficent, you're getting a different perspective. Sleeping Beauty is then a side character. It's a force that stops us from moving forward as planned. And it might not necessarily be planned, it's just, this is what I know, so this is the only thing I know how to do. It's my bag of tricks. With every bramble, thorn, and stone, it states, "No more, child, you have reached the last page of this chapter." Right? You can't keep using the same playbook. Right? So there's more there, but let's look at the stone, because I don't want to beat all of the dead horses here. That's a 99. 199 problems in a minute. Come on, give me the... Oh, here we go, the stone. The eternal, the anchor, and the rock. Stone and egg forms. Oh, okay. That makes sense. Egg form, egg form. Eggs, 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 eggs. Here we go. The stone. The Rolling Stones. Psychic and literal weight. Permanence, concreteness, reliability. Okay, so if something is constantly shape-shifting, in a trickster, we don't have much reliability. It's, I'm surviving by any means necessary, but, blink and you'll miss me. It makes me think of that stone game, Stone and Cup, right? Like, which thing is the stone under? There isn't much stability there. It's always, there's always a game afoot. Crap, I lost my page. The stone's ability to transform is nearly imperceptible to us as it changes ever so slowly over countless human lifespans. So what we're seeing is that the ancestral line is saying that we've been on this trajectory of change over eons, and each person has to work on the network. Everyone is adding their information to the DNA line. But in your individual lifetime, you might be stuck in this, like, constantly spitting out a new version of the same old, right? I'm riding the washing machine again. We're on the same record. Not noticing that over time, we're slowly changing the volume or the speed, or, you know, we're the jukebox has laid down a different record when we weren't looking, but it was in the same genre, so we didn't notice. And each record that comes down in the jukebox moves the needle to a slightly different genre. So if you started out with Johnny Cash, by the end of the day, you're listening to Ray Charles and you're like ass deep in blues, and you're like, I don't know how we got here. And that's like a difference between 1 or 2 lifetimes and 40 lifetimes, which is why we're getting this message from ancestors. A single stone may see thousands of generations come and go. Therefore, it contains an ancient and eternal presence. The stone is best used to anchor our wild side, which might be the shapeshifter or trickster. So no matter how far we roam, we can always find our way back. Tethers to the earth, grounding and connecting to stillness, quiet, and peace. The stone is a remedy for what ails us. Humble and easily unnoticed, the power of the stone balances the frenzy of our world. So we have an anchoring here. This is I'm flapping around. This is I'm hitting a brick wall. This is I'm being anchored. It's saying, like, you've been ungrounded. This is, like, too much air. Right? I'm blown through the weeds. Or too much water. Right? I'm fluid. Or too much air and water. But then what we have here is coming out is fire energy in the sacral. But we still have the presence of water. Interesting. Okay. So let's just look at the vessel for extra goodies. Cups, stoves, bodies holding organs, homes holding families. The vessel is an act of separation. Whatever is outside of the vessel is separate from what's inside of the vessel. Protecting what it contains. So we have nests, savings accounts, planets, and orbits, which is what this looks like. Time to assess what's being held together and how. Is a vessel too tight, too loose, broken, empty, full, or so on? Or is it there at all and everything's just spilling out everywhere? So it's natural for structures to be formed and eventually fall apart. The vessel has a life cycle that must be honored. Is it time for you to build, break, or repair? So this is an assessment point. You know, are you going to keep stirring the Kool-Aid, or are you going to break out of what's been containing you into this pattern? Are you going to use this stone to break out of the shell? Kind of like, I think some like lizards and stuff have an egg tooth. That's like a little spike that falls off of the tip of their nose or something like that. Or something like that. Alright. So this is the physical body as a vessel for the soul or for the DNA in this case. Alright, so we're looking at the womb. Oh, I just got tell me something good. I don't know who's saying that originally. It might have, maybe it was Shaka Khan or somebody was like, tell me something good. Ugh. Consider that Mother Earth must also have a mother. Imagine her. What would honoring the feminine look like to you? Where would you begin? Imagining yourself as loved is a good place to start. So here we're dealing with nourishment or lack and origins. Okay, so this is a little bit like when I was talking about the difference between the movie Sleeping Beauty and the movie Maleficent. Everything has an origin story. Right? What is the prequel? And the message from the ancestors is saying, like, there was some stuff going on before you got here. Like, you're the sum of all the parts. It's not like, oh, you have to be exactly like everyone that went before you, but if you realize where your ancestors have been, you can say, like, I recognize this in me, I recognize that in me, I'm not going to be like that, I'm actively healing that. Or, oh, this trait that I have, like, I'm drawing, well, someone, like 12 people in my ancestral past either wrote, played music, or made paintings of some sort. You know, I can feel it tracking in my DNA, even though I'm my own personality. I'm picking up these things because they're useful to me. I'm picking them out of my genome and saying, this is helpful to me. The womb archetype asks us to contemplate the beginning beyond the beginning. The mother beyond the mother. In a world that often negates the power and necessity of feminine principles, this card returns us to the warmth, tenderness, and sacred intelligence from which we came. Right? And the feminine energy doesn't necessarily have to be literally the mother. It can mean the creative force. Right? If I'm shape-shifting or if I'm playing a character, I'm using creative force to manifest something. I'm not sketching it out rigidly. I'm forming it out of the ether. It looks a little bit more like this ring than the straight lines that I see on this stone card. Or in the triangle here. The womb awaits your return to help you heal and grow. This is a card to keep things simple, to return, to be reborn in the name of love. Blah, blah, blah. It is beyond gender, beyond time. So once you decide where you are, whether you're on the bus or off the bus, then comes the nurturing that says, I feel protected in my evolution of who I am and what I'm creating, right? If I'm not being the same three characters, I can branch out and be something else. I'm moving beyond what has been done before, right? I'm transitioning through the gateway to boldly go where no man has gone before, right? I'm bridging the frontier, the final frontier, whatever. I'm crossing a frontier into new territory for where the DNA that I have access to has been on some kind of journey. Right? I'm taking the tool bag and I'm applying it to a new situation. Right? Like, we're using these plastic pipes for the sink so that the wastewater goes into the septic system. But I could take these same plastic pipes and set them up in a rack and play music. Thus, I've used the tools for something else. In a new and unexpected way, and I felt confident and nurtured in my ability to do that. I'm sure there's other examples. So this is what's coming down from the ancestors. The ability to anchor change. In order that the shape-shifting isn't just a trick for immediate survival, but a gradual expansion and innovation of consciousness through the physical body. How do you like them apples? Okay, so we're on the little dinosaur drawing pile. We're doing fixed signs, so Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. And I get the music deck here. And the topic is personal evolution. So, when you see a picture of you when you're little, do you say, oh, that's me? Or do you say, who is that? You know, looking back on your life at different points. Because people are going to treat you how they always have known you, but you might be evolving as a soul, however you want to describe that, right? I'm growing as a person, but people still think I'm the same person I was when I was 15 or when I was 8. You know, like, I'm a grown-ass... How does that... There's an Adam Lambert lyric. What is it? Something about I'm a grown-ass man. There, I said it. Yeah, something like that. I can't remember the exact lyric. It's been a minute since I listened to that. So anyway, grown-ass person. Who am I? Where am I? What am I going? What am I? Where am I? And who am I doing? I like when I said that the hangman dropped out, and now my battery is low. I should probably change the battery before I continue, but that was really funny. I'm like, who am I doing? And here comes Jim Morrison with Soul Kitchen. Sleep all night in your soul kitchen. Turn me out in the grove and I'll wander. Oops, now the dinosaur's out of focus. I've got a fuzzy dinosaur. Alright, let me change the battery. Hangman in the challenge position means I'm either falling asleep or I'm waking up. Considering the lyric is sleep all night in the soul kitchen, I believe that we are passing out at this point. Neptune energy. So, a nap attack, deep REM sleep. I'm sliding into... I want to say into the past, but it's giving me more Alice in Wonderland. Alternate dimension. Let's put it that way. All right, let's see what else we get. It's like I'm sprouting feathers. I also just heard hit the deck. Okay, speaking of soul, The Lovers, Rubber Soul. We have In My Life for the Beatles. We have, John and Ringo there on the picture. Soul. So, I mean, I thought I said soul evolution or personal growth, but obviously we're talking about evolution of the soul here. Personal evolution. And then we have the Knight of Swords, Thunderstruck. AC/DC. This is one of the few cards that I made that's sideways. Eventually I'm going to make a deck that can be purchased. I'm going to have to draw all these, but not these exact images, obviously, because these are bootleg, but because I printed them for myself. So I'm going to leave this sideways, but it's not in the challenge position. It's just so that the picture is upright. So the Knight of Swords is cutting through the bullshit. We have a 12 for a 12 here, and then we have 6. So we have this doubling energy. Well, if I have 12 upright and I have 12... Interesting. 12 sideways would be half of that, which would be the 6. But if this was inverted, I'd need the 12 to get back to out of the red. To get back to black. To get... Was it? Back in black! It's also AC/DC. Oh, here we go. A couple that jumped over my thumb. So we have 20 Judgment with Wisdom with Johnny Lang. And Wheel of Fortune, Spinning Wheel, Blood, Sweat, and Tears. So we have a doubling effect again. We have the wheel going into Judgment. Spinning wheel, got to go round. Drop all your troubles by the riverside. Catch a painted pony on the spinning wheel ride. Now, the song Wisdom is about not really knowing stuff until you've become wizened with age. The Hanged Man is sort of on his way to becoming the Hermit, which is on their way to becoming the Magician, which is a wizard. Notice here that in this image there's the number 606, so we have a nod to the 6 there as well. I'm not sure how many cards this reading is going to be, but we're going to find out. I didn't have any set spreads planned. I just wanted to get in there like a pile of corn. Okay, 7 of Swords inverted. I have Midnight Creeper. Some Elton there. Where is he? Because he's in focus over here. The Cock of the Walk here. And this is the ninja stealing in the night kind of thing, the Moon in Aquarius. But we're inverted. So we have Illumination. You can't be stealing something. You can't manipulate with your words. 7 is sort of a stationary energy. I want it to be a 6 of Swords so I can say, instead of sailing away the bullshit, I turn it upside down and I'm going deeper. But what I have, if I'm trying to take the 7 from the 12, I'm getting 5, which gives me that manipulation energy. And then I have the Queen of Cups. So we have Fields of Gold here with Ava Cassidy. Her version of it. So I have a 13, which is Death Cycle. So I have 6 and 7 together. I'm trying to remember the lyrics. I listened to it a few times recently, but now it's kind of escaping me. Will you remember me? Something, something among the fields of gold. It's kind of like a lost fantasy. And that's where we get back into this sort of Alice in Wonderland. And I would expect... I'm envisioning... I think it's the Pentacles. Let me pull out the card, because It's going to annoy me if it doesn't shuffle out on its own. So let me just pull the card that I'm thinking of. I gotta shimmy through the deck here to find it. Shimmy, shimon. Shimon. Really messing around instead of looking for the fucking card. Here it is. It is the Five of Pentacles. Okay. So this idea of sort of dreaming that sort of Alice in Wonderland, I'm asleep and I'm having adventures, right? The deep out-of-body REM sleep. So this is what I'm thinking of. The Five of Pentacles. Don't Come Around Here No More by Tom Petty. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because the whole video is Alice in Wonderland theme. We have a big hand here saying you can't come in. Don't come in here. We have this checkerboard situation. And Tom Petty is the Mad Hatter with this big teacup here. And now I can't remember any of the lyrics. But this video made a huge impression on me when I was little and I saw it on MTV. So I'm saying that this stuff all together is making me think of this Five of Pentacles in particular. Right? I'm getting essence of the Five of Swords in a roundabout way, but it's coming out as a manifestation. What am I being blocked by in the material world that might be manifesting as this outrageous dream because my subconscious is trying to process what's going on? Because I'm struggling with this personal evolution during my waking hours, because I'm just kind of like trotting along like la la la, you know, survival mode. Where's my next meal coming from? Do I look pretty? You want some fuck. It's like the bird with the blue stuff. Okay. Two of Swords, Mortal Kombat. Sub-Zero. See the one that's like, get over here? I think he might be. Actually, no, this is Scorpion. Sub-Zero is blue, but he looks the same. Anyway, one of them is like, get over here. This is a choice or decision, but we're still dealing with this conceptual situation, right? I'm in my head. I'm thinking. And it's also this idea of Mortal Kombat. It's like my life is at stake here. I'm in danger in some way. I have to overcome some great obstacle or the world is going to end because some bad guy is all like, off with your head. I'm also because it's a video game, right? We have to finish him, like fatality. Oh, okay, this just kind of slid out. Okay, so here's the Magician, right? This is what I was talking about. We have the 7 Metals of Alchemy, so I have the 7 coming up again. Mannheim Steamroller was that song. So the Magician is the Wizard. Wizard of Oz. Not quite, not quite, not quite. Air energy, Mercurial. Ooh, thunder. It's like thunder, it's like lightning. The way you love me, it's frightening. You better knock on wood. So we have hit the deck, we have knock on wood. We have this sort of combat fantasy. But how does that relate to personal evolution? Ow, why did I hit my knuckle so hard on the table? Okay. How does that relate to personal evolution? How do we come out of this sort of dream world? It's like a primordial brain stew or brainstorm, right? Brainstorm. Thunderstruck. And there goes the plow. It's sort of like if you're a caterpillar and you've dissolved into goo. You've got your memories encoded into your DNA, like all these little engrams, so that when you put yourself back together into a solid butterfly, you retain your memories. And this is true too, because if you there's some experiment where they were, I don't know if they were electrically shocking caterpillars or something, but after they turned into goo and then they reformed into their butterfly form and came out of the chrysalis, they wanted nothing to do with the whole electrical shock system. They were like, oh no, motherfucker, like, I'm out of here, I got wings. That's not exactly how it went, but it's close enough. All right. You know, just because I appear different now, just because I'm no longer weak or vulnerable, doesn't mean that everything is okay. Right? It's sort of like, all right, let's look at Winona Ryder. All right, there's a story that somebody that she had gone to school with at some point came up to her and was like, oh my god, Winona, like remember me, can I have your autograph? You know, like, pay attention to me because I know you. And she was like, oh yeah, I remember you. You're that fucking asshole that, like, stuffed me into a locker and beat the shit out of me, or whatever it was. I think they just, like, beat the ever-loving shit out of her. Maybe the locker wasn't involved, maybe it wasn't. And she was like, fuck you. So that's the thing. It's like, even if you've evolved into, what is it, like when a Pokemon evolves and it becomes something more like majestic? It's like that. It's like, I've evolved into some kind of alluring, higher realm creature, but I'm not forgetting things that were vile or dangerous. Right? It's like, just because Alice goes back through the looking glass doesn't mean that she's forgotten her adventures in Wonderland. Right? She knows what's up. So, what does that mean in terms of personal evolution? Okay. Temperance inverted. Alright, so we have Chemical Plant Zone. I like it from Sonic Generations, so this is just a little image from Sonic 2. So we have Tails down here, little bastard, he's so cute. And then we have Sonic. And Temperance inverted means I'm off balance. I've got Sagittarius energy, I think. Oh, just, yeah, fire energy. Sagittarius energy inverted. Like, I feel like I'm drowning. I'm sort of burnt out. And it is somewhat related to the Hanged Man energy. It's this idea of sort of enlightenment and being able to see things from both sides in a way that inspires you on where you're going. I'm a little bit off kilter here. You're out of your element, Donnie. Although, if we think about I'm out of my element, The only reason that a lobster will grow bigger is if because it's feeling constrained, right? The environment is no longer suitable. The environment is too confining. So it will break through the shell and start growing a new one. Queen of the Night, the Moon. So what's the deepest, what's your deepest, darkest secret? What's secreting? Like, what are you scared of that makes you piss your pants? I didn't know this reading was going to be so huge. It's like in Dances with Wolves, they have this guy that's like supposed to be in control of where Kevin Costner's character gets posted in his military orders. And he wants to go to the frontier before it's gone, and the guy is like insane. Right? So he's like just announcing to whoever is like servile in the room, like some like a low-grade military person. He's like, I'll have my crown now. And he's like, Sir Knight, I've just pissed my pants and nobody can do anything about it. That's what that makes me think of. Because we have the knight over here. So this is... this personal evolution is sort of held up a little bit by these sort of nightmares of kind of nightmares of the past, of people assaulting you in some way. You know, like if I expose myself, people are gonna shit on me more than they did when I was younger. And here comes the plow coming back the other way. So what is the resolution to this? So we have the other Johnny Lang card. We have Into the Light, Seven of Cups inverted. So when the Seven of Cups is inverted, that means all of the delusions, in this case, all of the delusions are thrust into the light. Right, I can see the one true cup shining. And we have this imbalance being cut in half. So there's a death cycle, emotional cups, and then we have illumination cups. So this idea of allowing yourself to go after what you really want without having... There's the plow again. Without having this fear of success, basically. You know, like, once... It's like once you see them, they can see you, like with demons in a movie. It's like I'm coming out of my foxhole. We have Tails over there, he's a fox. So if I'm coming out of my foxhole, then I'm vulnerable, but the only way to get ahead, to get what I really want, is to come out of my shell. And it's very Cancerian energy. And which is interesting because I had noted the Sagittarian energy too, and neither one of those signs are fixed. But we do see the Wheel of Fortune, and most of the time the Wheel of Fortune does have Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius on it. And we did see some Aquarius over here. So what is my ending here? Justice 11 in the challenge position. So we have the Saints Hallelujah here by the Canadian Brass. So when the saints go marching in, hallelujah, You're gonna change, girl, marching. Okay, so 11 is a universal timing. It's things coming together. It's an awareness of where you are in time. It's a pinpoint. It's a a quote from the movie Down Periscope: pinpoint drill in the simulator, right between the screws. So what's going on? And again, you see 11, we did have the Lover's card. It could be, I'm overcoming my fear of coming together with another person because they've rejected me in the past, or in general, whenever I've really wanted somebody, I got friend zoned or rejected or ignored or abused in some way. And that doesn't, it's not like a pass to say, like, I'm going to keep badgering the same person to be with me, or I'm never going to ask another person to be with me again because it's so traumatic. That's not what we're worried about here. And it's... wait for the plow to go by again. Ugh. And we're back. Okay, so we're not encouraging or admonishing people for relationship issues. It's all part and parcel of whatever the heart desires, whatever is emotionally fulfilling to you, no matter what that is. It's work, it's how you present yourself, it's how you feel. Am I giving myself a makeover? Am I getting some dental work done finally? Have I not been able to see and I'm getting glasses? Did I get my driver's license when I was never able to before? Did I have a messed up limb and now I've gotten surgery or a prosthesis or something like that, where it's like I'm more empowered as a human being. It doesn't have to be specifically relationship, and that's generally not what I'm focusing on unless the sort of subject pull specifically is a love statement, or if I'm doing a relationship reading or a twin flame reading. So those can be many things, but what we see, not just, oh, I'm working on connecting to my person, it's broader, or more specifically, I'm trying to rectify something in my life that's been out of balance or grossly unfair, by aligning with this sort of pinpoint of universal timing that's saying, wake up from the nightmare. We're not doing Alice Cooper, welcome to my nightmare. We're saying I'm waking up out of it. I've slept so long. It's like a dream that I've had over and over again, and it's traumatizing me, and I'm learning to have some kind of lucid dreaming where I'm angry in some way in the dream, and I'm like, I'm not going to do this anymore. It's sort of like at the end of Alice in Wonderland, where Alice is super pissed off at the Queen and King of Hearts court, and she's like, you know what, I have control here, like, screw you guys, I'm going home. Screw you guys, home. So that's what we're talking about here. It's like going home, whereas in home is who you want to be as a person if you didn't have anyone abusing you and knocking you down and saying you can't do that. Okay. That's it for this reading. If you need more information, hit me up. Get a personal reading. We got ancestral trauma, life purpose, relationship, whatever you want. Check it out. Email me, and there it is. Okay, and we've got the little landscape here for the mutable signs. I'm gonna move the camera for 1 second. Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces. And Gemini and Virgo both ruled by Mercury, unless I'm having hallucinations. I am correct, sir. Okay. Alright, so we got the Lenormand. I'm not going to do a Lenormand grid necessarily. I'm just going to see what comes out. Labyrinth, which should be March 9th card of the day. Because I'm working on editing those right now. So I have the clouds. The clouds. King of Wands with the 6. Oh! Oh, bitch! Girl! Got 3 birds. Is that in... Where the hell? I've got 3 birds here. I've got a big cloud. There's some lightning. God damn it. Why are you not focusing? Okay, so I've got 3 birds. I've got these clouds. There's a tree and some lightning. What have I got on this drawing? I've got 3 birds. I've got a big cloud, and I've got trees. And my hand is dirty. Okay. And now my stuff is fucking... Alright, let's get that back in focus on the table. Alright. So the clouds and the labyrinth, which also has 3 birds on it, and a shrubbery with trees in the background. Just like most of the deck. Oh, you know what? When I was thinking about what decks to use, this is the card that I thought of. So the scythe here, or whatever, the not handled version, the sickle. Popsicle. So it's in this rotational direction. Jack of Pentacles. So we have a knight or a page here. Depending. Oh, that's the neighbor's dog barking. And with the moon kind of coming out at the opposite angle. 32 with the 8 of Cups. 8 of Cups in my music deck, I believe, is life story. Your life story began with somebody else. Find your glory out there with somebody else. I'll be where you find me. I'll be somebody else. Barbara Streisand. Okay. I want that to be the page, but I don't think that's right. It kind of... a knight that's been demoted. Like a third of a rank. So not knocked all the way down to a page, but... like a knave or... like a knight in training. 23, we have the 2 bad mice here. Was it Tom Thumb was the other one? Because I think I read or looked it up recently. And Hunka Munka. 5, 23 breaking down to 5, with 32 breaking down to 5 over here on the moon. So let's put this here between the 5 and the 6. So this is somewhere between 11 and 12, and this is somewhere between 5 and 6. And then I have 7. So I was trying to escalate. What am I doing? Oh, I forgot what I said I was going to do. I didn't even say what this was. The topic for mutable signs is portals and timelines and landscape changes. So the last time I was here, it was a free-range landscape. There's a river, there's cliff, there's trees, but then I turned around and 2 seconds later, it's a manicured garden. Right, somebody's been trimming it. The seasons are all wrong. And I see the moon and I see the sickle, and it's the same shape. That crescent shape. Even the shimmering dome of this lacework gazebo thing ultimately holds the sickle shape. 7 of Wands can relate to the King of Wands. The difference there is another 7, which I see here. But we have balanced in your desires and intentions. Here we have imbalance, but 7 is also sort of, how did I described it in one of these other readings, and now I don't remember what it was. It's a stationary energy. I'm holding my ground, but something's eating away at me. Holding my grounds for the coffee. So then we have 9, the letter, with the Queen of Swords in the challenge position. Well, she wrote me a letter, she said, "Can I get back to my baby once more in a way?" Got me a ticket for an aeroplane. Ain't no time to take a fast train. Lonely days are gone. I'm going home. My baby just wrote me a letter. Okay. So Queen of Swords. Oh, this isn't the letter, this is the flowers. Well, there's a note card on there. On the flowers. So we have a delivery without intention. So like a gift that's not being delivered. A gift that's delayed. A 9 is something that's sort of almost complete. It's like I'm delivering a sack of rice, but as I'm going, the grains are falling out of it. So by the time I get there, the essence might be there, but the substance is missing. It kind of reminds me of in Spaceballs where the mayor or whatever Mel Brooks is playing, because he plays yogurt as well, but when he's doing the mayor character and he beams himself like upstairs or downstairs on the ship, and when he gets there his ass is on backwards, or his head is on his body backwards. Or in Galaxy Quest, where they test beam this like alien pig thing, and it from the ground of the planet to the ship, and it turns inside out and then explodes. Okay. So we have the bear. Me mother's a bear! The trailer was misleading! 10 of Wands now, inverted, which would be a release. We have 15 here. A little bit of devil energy, but the bear here is a mama bear. It's, you know, I am protecting my situation at all costs. 10 of Wands means, like, under all of the pressure. This means, in some way, I'm releasing the burden of things that aren't really my problem. And we see that I'm trying to get through this bridge, 7, 10, 14. This king is. But these cards all together aren't really explaining anything yet. So what does this have to do with shifting of timelines? The moon energy here can be notoriety. Like, I want to be famous. I want to be shiny. I want to sparkle at night. But it's related to this something's eating away at me. My life story isn't to sit here and have all of my energy sucked away from me. There's this idea of pruning. I have to cut the flowers to send them. The clouds are clearing on what, though? Because the sky is opening to this labyrinth that has some light shining in it. I see some sunset over here, and I'm coming off of a previous night because the moon is on this side. So we have a daybreak energy. This looks sort of like twilight. This is in an underwater cavern, and then this is like inside the house. So we have these different locations. This, this is the game of Clue. You have, I don't know, yeah, I'm going to go get the Clue deck, the cards. I don't think Parker Brothers exists anymore. I think it all got eaten up by Hasbro. Alright. This comes up once in a while. So I don't want the cards, even though it might help. Because they're fragile too. Okay. The way these environments are set up makes me think of the rooms in Clue. So if I want to say Miss Scarlet with the revolver in the conservatory, this is in one of these timelines that I'm on. This is what's happening. If I go through some other kind of shift or portal where the landscape changes again, I might have Colonel Mustard in the kitchen. What the hell did that? Oh, with the rope. If I'm going into another situation, I might end up with Professor Plum in the hall with the candlestick. And I don't know if that makes any more sense, but it's like every time I roll, I'm moving into a different timeline. I'm moving into a different landscape. Every time, and it's kind of like if you're playing one of those other role-playing games, D&D or whatever. It's like I'm rolling for initiative, I'm rolling for skill, I'm rolling for this, I'm rolling for that. But ultimately, I'm moving from room to room, and I'm trying to figure out what's going on. What happened? What's the situation? What are the threats? Is it Mrs. White in the lounge with the knife? Is it Mrs. Peacock? I'm trying to remember, in the ballroom with the wrench. Those are the kinds of things that are kind of in play in this reading. So what I want to know, what I really want to know is, are you going to go my way? So what are we trying to do with a shift? What are we becoming aware of? Because some of it might be very minute, like the sand, the rice grains falling out of your bag. We might not know what's eating away at our whole system. but it's creating this sort of time suckage that's bringing us into a different story. You know, I don't want to be sitting somewhere defending some position with all of my energy when it's a story that belongs to someone else. I don't want to be harvesting some grain that isn't in line with where I'm going on my journey. If my life path is to subsist on, trying to think on barley, and I'm growing amaranth, this isn't the crop that's going to give me any sustenance, so why am I spending all my time growing it? So we have the mask here. I have a choice of saying, oh, I want the sun, I want the moon, but my reality is somewhere in between. It's kind of like, in the reverse, it's like, oh, I'm peeling this mask off. I'm not going to pretend to be someone I'm not. But it's also, I have a choice to say, I'm not picking one, I'm not picking the other. I'm forging my own path. And that's where this idea of landscape changes can come in. Because I could say, oh, this is a river over here, but it can also be a path that I'm carving in this mountainside. Right, and we see in the labyrinth, right? I can follow these paths that have been cut, or I can take a chainsaw and huck a line straight through. I don't even know if that's the right verb, but that's what came out. Right, I'm making my own thing. Ten of Swords here is agony, which is interesting because it came up with the ship upright. And it wants to be a dirigible, but right now it's just an airship. So it's like take to the skies energy. Right? Instead of carving a path through this mountain, I'm just gonna be like, toodaloo, motherfuckers, I'm over here. But we see this 10 here, and we see this 10 here. And it's like I'm trying to cancel out this incredible burden. In some ways, it's saying I'm increasing my pain by carving my own timeline, which is why it's a harder choice. But the idea is oh, I'm not going to be boxed into a corner. So we have the Woman inverted, Ace of Swords inverted. I'm finding creative ways to lie to myself, basically. Creative ways. And look, she's got one of these flowers here that came in with this Queen of Swords. Right? It's like if I'm trying to find what timeline I'm on, each one of these flowers, which is I think these are tulips and this is roses. Right? It's like, would you rather have roses on your piano or tulips on your organ? In the conservatory with the lead pipe. I think I didn't use Mr. Colonel Mustard yet. Or maybe it was Mr. Green. I think it was Mr. Green that I didn't use. Anyway, maybe both of them are in the conservatory with the lead pipe. You know, we're not going to judge here. But the idea is that each one of these flowers is some sort of potential wormhole opening of another dimension, another timeline, another world. Right? It's like one of these goes to Narnia, the other one goes to Wakanda, and another one goes to Middle Earth. Where am I going? One of them might go to Singapore 300 years ago. One of them might go to Cambodia right now. One of them might put me in Alaska 20 years ago. You know, it's where am I going? What am I doing? What does it all lead to? I feel like I'm not getting a lot of, like, clear answer in this reading, though. I also just heard right hand red, which is Twister, which is a different game. So now I have another 10 coming out almost in the challenge position, but a little bit upside down. The loyalty card with a 10 of cups. 10 of cups is like emotional fulfillment. But here it's like I'm empty. But I'm trying to be true to myself by coming out of that. You know, this is like, who's going to take me out to play? Like, why won't anyone play with me? Like, nobody's being responsible. Oh, okay. Mutable signs. We have flexibility, fickleness, shifting, subject to alteration. I think that's why there isn't any, like, solid message coming out. It's just like a clusterfuck. And it's like, it changes depending on the angle that you throw it, or how long you shake it, or what the die is made out of. You know, there's a certain number of variables. Ooh, okay, so we have 6 weapons. We have 6 numbers on the die, and we have 6 characters. Six, 6, 6, but it's exponential, so it's 6 to the 6, 36 to the 6th power, which I don't want to do the math, but it's, you know, a lot. 1600 or something, whatever. And I think what's happening is that there's this rapid cycling from one character and one number to another character and thing, and then it's like, oh, no, we're changing the number, oh, now we're changing the person, and we're changing the number again, and we're changing, you know, the tools again. And it's a constant shifting landscape because there's this constant siphoning of material out of the system. So it's like, as soon as it gets whittled down enough, the whole thing comes undone and it morphs into something else. It's kind of like when you have a dam that's holding back the water, and at a certain point the volume that it's holding starts overcoming. There's like a breach where there's one point where it starts trickling down, and as soon as the volume gets too much, the whole mass breaks. Or the straw that broke the camel's back, right? It's like one more thing. It's a pressure system. So for immutable signs, we have this challenge of what is true to me in a way that's going to open me up to my sole purpose. It's like, how many characters am I? I don't know who I really am. Or when I do grasp hold of who I am, you know, I have, like, am I this one or this one? I know I'm fire. Right? Which method of fire, which flavor of fire am I? And I can grasp it, I can identify it, and I'm like, yes, I'm red fire, I have a flame. I'm not yellow fire with explosive shooty. But in order to stay anywhere in that zone, if this becomes unstable, I have to switch to the other one. You know, it's like, oh, I'm a fire Pokemon, so I can only do this or this. And I don't really know anything about Pokemon, but just like I'm a fire elemental. These are the only things that are available to me. So even though this doesn't make me happy, this is my only option, and I've had to become that. And I think this is saying, in some way, despite kind of constantly like tap dancing your feet to stay on solid ground, that you may have to let everything you know collapse in order to maintain that identity of who you actually are. Okay. So we have another queen in the challenge position. This one's the Queen of Wands, which is the other fire elemental I was just talking about. We have 7 here, and then I have this open 8. The snake. This is a poison card. But with it coming into challenge position, it's like I'm trying to suck the poison out, which is exactly what I was just talking about. Notice it goes from 6 to 7, and it goes from 14 to 13 with this here. It's like I'm going from achievement to a death cycle. And that's where it's like my whole world is collapsing because I'm releasing this stuff that has nothing to do with me. It's like, instead of fighting the whirlpool, I'm going to take a deep breath and let it carry me down into the bowels of the earth, because when I pop up, I'm finding myself somewhere majestic that I wouldn't have gotten to if I was still trying to keep my footing in all this constantly shifting stuff. So there's an aspect of letting go in order to arrive where you need to be to keep being who you actually are. So we end up as like Miss Scarlet with the candlestick in the underground cavern, maintaining this self-identity and soul purpose instead of constantly shifting around and being every other character with every other tool and never settling on any sense of self or sense of identity or sense of purpose. So let's just flip over the deck for a final note here. 24, breaking down to 6 with the Jack of Cups, which is responding to this. This is a heart here, but it could be construed as like the Lovers. But it's like who I am and what my purpose is coming together. And this looks like it's also part of this underground cavern system. I have a Jack here. In this case, I don't have this idea of, oh, I am a knight that's been demoted. I'm a page who's bridging up. Right? I've gotten a little bit higher than saying, oh, this is the first time I've really understood how I feel about stuff around me. And there's an aspect of healing, there's an aspect of togetherness, and this could be that this whole situation has to do with romantic relationships, and we could see like, oh, I've tried, every kink in the book with everybody I could get my hands on, whenever I had a dice to roll, right? Whenever I could play my cards, I'd get with somebody. And now I'm realizing what I really need for a sustainable and fulfilling relationship. That's sort of an aside, though. This is more of a personal journey of finding out like what you're doing and who you really are in a sea of, you know, surviving by adapting to be like those around you instead of using adaptive skills to be yourself in the environments that you've encountered. So that's for Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces, or anyone who felt interested in the deck or the image, the rivery-ish landscape. All right, so that's it for this reading. Thank you for watching all or some of that. If you want to get a personal reading to get more information, you can email me, thecatcamebackatcamp@gmail.com. Sample reading, $9. A certain set of readings is $45 each, and the more complex readings are $99 each. If you haven't seen my little advertisement, you can check out that listing down in the description box or just email me. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment, check out my playlists tab, and stay groovy, and we'll see you later. Bye. Thank you for watching. Stay connected with Cat the Minion energy work. Check out my complete suite of goods and services conveniently from my Linktree. linktr.ee/cattheminion. Color your way into some relaxation with my coloring books Energy Forms and Draco Forms on Amazon. Get groovy with fashion and home accessories from my Cafe Press or Redbubble shops. Decorate your environment with original art and divination tools from my Etsy shop.